Welcome back, everybody. My name is Taylor Martin. This is the best Damn EDC, and it's time for another EDC Weekly. However, I've been talking about changing up the EDC Weekly for a long time, and I never really knew how to do it until today. Well, sort of. I'm not like changing the whole structure based on what I'm doing today, but I did have a cool idea. I was talking with somebody in the Discord server. They mentioned buying a different PM2 to match their pin, and I pulled mine out and I swapped the scales on it and I made it nice and fresh. And then it got me thinking about maybe I should do an EDC Weekly on the PM2 because it is one of the most iconic. It's a staple in the EDC world and in the knife world. The Paramilitary 2 is just widely revered. It's carried by many, and it's really, really neat because you can really, truly make it your own. And that is what this EDC Weekly is all about. Not only just the PM2, an amazing knife in its own right, but customized PM2s, because I think that is the embodiment of everyday carry today. Custom stuff that's really your own. That's what I really love about the PM2, and I know a lot of people love it for that very reason as well. Not to mention all the great things about it, the ergos and all that. But all that aside, this is the EDC Weekly. This is the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, and let's do the damn thing. So because I know you guys are gonna ask, I'll go ahead and get it out of the way. The watch on my wrist, I've been wearing this a lot lately. This is my Marathon TSAR. I've been working on my Land Rover a lot more and just doing things where I don't wanna mess up my nicer watches. So Marathon TSAR is a tank. I keep it on my wrist when I'm doing stuff out in the yard or working on things, and I've just kind of fallen back in love with it. The knife, since this is the PM2 version, the knife I was carrying today before all of this, sparked the whole idea, is this PM2 right here, which is actually the very first knife that I bought, like over $100 when I started doing this. This was the knife that really kind of set it all off for me, the one that I had customized by Matt at Wear Knives or EDC Alabama. This knife has been with me longer than any other knife, and it's seen many, many different scales and configurations, but currently I have Applied Weapons Tech aluminum OD green scales. I have the original bead blasted hardware. The Backspacer is from Flytanium. There's a Ripp's Garage Tech Zero Feud Lil Nuke bead. I think the lanyard tube is also brass from Flytanium. I don't know. I got most of this hardware by buying and selling and trading. And this clip came directly from Ripp's Garage Tech. It is his milled clip and just a stonewash finish. And I think that's everything. I've had my Carta scales on it. I've had titanium scales on it, copper scales, black G10 scales, lots of different scales. But then finally in the glass, I actually have a nice little Glencairn from my buddy Jeremy, the leaf and barrel. But in here, I have my favorite whiskey of all time, period, hands down, forever and always, Lagavulin 16. I love this stuff to death, and it just felt like a Lagavulin day. So here we are. Okay, so when I got this idea, I told people on Instagram to use the hashtag EDC Weekly to share their customized PM2s. I created a channel in the Discord called PM2 Only, and then I also shared a post over on Facebook talking about this. So I'm gonna be pulling submissions from all over the place, but let's start with the Discord because I think that's probably the easiest place to follow, and I think the most submissions happen in the Discord. The very first submission comes from Adam Shield, and this one's really cool because originally it was just a Tanto PM2, also lots of Tanto PM2s, and you guys are gonna make me want to buy, I already want to buy a Tanto PM2. I'm so torn on it, but you guys, it just looks cool, and you guys make me want one. Anyway, this one originally had Jade G10 scales on it, and he said, simple dye job on my Tanto, it's a big upgrade from the Jade. And while I think I would personally carry Jade over blue, because I just don't like blue, green is better than blue, and Jade kind of has that green tint to it. This looks cool, and I really want to do some grit dye on stuff just to see what you can do with it. I think that's a cool way to customize some stuff, but this one is the very first one. It's a really cool little mod that you did there. The next one comes from Dakota, or the Grimsmo shill of the Discord server. He has a Blade HQ exclusive M4 Tanto. On that, he has the RGT, or Ripp's Garage Tech Microhex titanium scales, anodized blue with satin flats, as well as the Ripp's Garage Tech titanium milled pocket clip. So those scales are pretty much these exact scales right here. These are Ripp's Garage Tech Micro Hex in a bronze anodized with a very heavy stone wash. And he also has this clip right here, which is the milled TI clip. Before this morning, in fact, I had that same configuration, which is kind of funny, but without the Tanto blade. But that's really cool. Also, green's better than blue. The next submission comes from my buddy Jonathan over at Redeemed Creations. And yes, before you guys ask, the minimalist wallets are coming back, as well as the front pocket bifolds. They're all coming back. We just haven't gotten to it yet. I'll get there. Anyway, I have seen this PM2 shared a lot, and I just love those linen scales. So he has an acid stonewashed S110V blade with a choil added, which is something I really want to do, because when you are using a guided sharpener on these, you really can't get up in here and sharpen this thing like you should. It has a really weird edge termination. So I want to add my own little choil in there so you can, actually sharpen the whole edge and not have that weird edge termination at the ricasso. So he added a choil to his. He also has this Reaper's Knives OD Linen Micarta black hardware and a Lynch Northwest deep carry pocket clip. That one looks fantastic. I've carried a knife basically just like this for a very long time. I had my Micarta Ripp's Garage Tech with a Lynch Northwest on it, and really lightweight, really awesome feel to the PM2. And that linen looks so good. I love the patina. People ask if Micarta can patina, and yeah, it absolutely can. The oils from your hands will patina it. So you can see right here where I was carrying it and where the clip was blocking my hand from touching the scale. So yeah, Micarta can definitely patina, and the more you use it, the better it looks. I almost skipped over this one because I know that Steven doesn't actually carry this one anymore, but that wasn't really part of the criteria. This knife was customized by Blatt, which there's a long story for why his name is that, but he modded the blade, and then there are RCBW maroon Micarta scales. Those scales look really cool, but the blade is what I'm really interested in here. That acid etch or forced patina or whatever, it's an S30V blade, so I'm guessing that's some sort of acid etch. I'm not sure exactly what he did. Maybe he coated the very edge of the blade with something and then acid etched the rest. I'm not sure, but it looks really cool. I like that little two-tone finish. It reminded me of the Cypher that I used to have from Microtech. That's a really cool little effect there. All right, the next one is actually really cool. It's like a lime green scale, and I'm not 100% sure what's going on with this one. It's from Swallow Media, and he says Lynch Northwest Mod-1 PM2. So what I'm led to believe is that this was actually a Lynch Northwest PM2. So he made the scales. It kind of looks like one of his milling patterns. I'm guessing that's what happened here. I don't know for sure, but if so, that's cool. I didn't know that was a thing. That's a cool looking PM2. A little too green for my carry, but it goes really well with yours. You got a lot of green stuff right here. The next one comes from Edgy, and I think this is one of the coolest ones that has been shared. It's not super heavily modded or anything or customized, but he has a copper wash blade. You don't see copper washing a whole lot. It patinas and it starts to get really dark, and some people don't like the way it looks. I like it. EDC Alabama, or Matt from Wear Knives, he customized my CRKT Pilar with a copper wash blade, and it looked so good. I loved the patina on it. Anyway, he also has heat bronzed hardware, acid washed liners, and green G10 scales with a twisted T-bead. Rick absolutely crushed those twisted T-beads. This dude gets extra points for one of those because those are cool. Anyway, the green G10 scales here, they look almost like a teal or like seafoam green, which is interesting. I'm not sure if it's just the color of the photo or what, but that's a cool color. I like that. Okay, this one is also one of my favorites. It comes from Karbadize, who makes scales. They're in the server, they're a maker. They do scales for knives, but this one in particular, I'm not sure if he made these scales. I would imagine, but this one just hits me right where I love to be hit. That's not what people say. Whoa. Hits me right in the fifis. No, I don't know what to say. Like, no, these are Vault-Tec scales, Vault 111. I love anything and everything Fallout. I've played most of them, not all the games. Love Fallout, except for 76 apparently, because it wasn't good and I never played it. But Fallout, I have a soft spot in my heart for that game and all of the games, the series. And this is really cool. I now want some Vault-Tec scales. It's one of those like only pop culture things that I can really get behind. I love Fallout. Did I mention that? I don't think I did. That I love Fallout. I don't think I don't know if I ever told you guys. I love Fallout. Anyway, really cool knife. Thank you for sharing that. How do I get some Vault-Tec scales? I need Vault-Tec scales. One for every knife I own. All right, the last one from the Discord comes from G. Bailey, the Sabinza shield of the Discord server. He says, my plain blue and titanium Blade HQ exclusive Tanto M4 Paramilitary 2 with full titanium hardware and scales, sitting with the inspiration to make it the way it is. So it is sitting next to a blue and plain TI Grimsmo Norseman, as well as a Sabinza. So definitely got a theme going on here, but he also has the crosshatch Flytanium titanium scales. So it looks like a bit of a Umnumzon or something. So it's a really cool configuration there, definitely paying homage to Chris Reeve, which is really nice. Anyway, moving over to the Facebook group. Yeah, it took a while for people to reply to the Facebook post that I made. I made an announcement. A lot of people there in the Facebook group apparently don't even know that there's a YouTube channel, which is interesting to me. I think more and more people who are joining realize that it's part of a community and a YouTube channel, but there are a lot of people who just like stumble upon the Facebook group from Facebook. It's recommended to them and they join and they have no clue who I am or what the channel is about, or that there's another community outside that. So it's really weird. When I post in there, people are like, who is this guy? But it's me. Hello, if you're watching this, welcome to my community. Yeah, my name's Taylor. I guess, I don't know. So the first one that I'm gonna talk about here from the Facebook group comes from Joff Tongson. He said, this is my BBS exclusive K390 acid stonewashed with textured black G10 scales. So I think the white balance might be off here because they look blue and the acid etch also looks blue, but I know K390 is highly sought after in the PM2 community. I love the way that looks, but the one below it is actually a Maximet PM2 with RC Bladeworks Scales, a lynch clip, Flytanium copper backspacer, and a copper lanyard bead. So this one has all the works, but I wanted to talk about this one specifically because I know people love the Maximet, but also these scales right here are awesome. RC Bladeworks does some really awesome micarta work. In fact, I think this right here on my Hinderer, I'm pretty sure I bought these used, but I think this scale right here is an RC Bladeworks scale as well. And I love their work with micarta and the finishing that goes on these. This looks like a rag micarta, like a shop rag with oil in it. I don't know. I really genuinely don't know much of anything about this scale, but I love the micarta work from RC Bladeworks. And the last one from the Facebook group comes from Robert Hayden. He has a DLC Tanto S30V with Rockscale design hexi scales and a lynch clip with blue anodization. Those Rockscale design scales are really interesting. I've seen them before, don't see them very often, but that's kind of looks like a snake or like a dragon, or yeah, it's got a weird pattern to it, but it's cool. It looks like a dragon, yeah, it's very interesting. Man, you guys really make me want a Tanto. Like, I'm so torn on Tantos because I suck at sharpening already, and having something that's easy to sharpen is key for me. But Tanto just doubles the number of edges that you have to sharpen. So, man, I'm so torn on it. So the first one from Instagram comes from Caffeinated Carry. They're both S30V coated blades, and they're both totally outfitted with Flytanium hardware. So one of them is a brass handle with, it looks like bronzed titanium hardware, I guess. I don't think there's a backspacer on it, but there is a lanyard tube delete. And the other one is a carbon fiber scale with green hardware and a toxic green backspacer. So two totally different PM2s from one person in the same photo. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. You can just totally make these knives your own very easily. The next one comes from Stoffer EDC, I guess is how it's pronounced. Here we have an S30V coated Tanto PM2, but the scales this time, I'm guessing that is some sort of ironwood. I'm not exactly sure. There's no information really. Those scales look really cool. They're actually contoured. So something you'll notice about all the PM2 scales that I have on the table, and pretty much all the ones you're ever gonna see, is that they're flat. That's just kind of the thing, but these are contoured, which I think would make it better for usability, but for carry might make it a little weirder. I don't know. Personally, I think that would look really good with a stonewash or acid edged blade. I think that'd look really cool. And the very next photo comes from Hurley, or HRLY. There are, again, two PM2s. One is a Tanto, one is not. I don't know the blade steel's probably S30V. Those are the most common. But he says there is a Tanto with heat colored titanium scales, and the other one is copper scales rocking a shipwreck patina. And that's something I've thought about doing. I don't force patina stuff very often, but I think this would look really cool forced patinaed and maybe like lacquered so it would stay. I don't know, maybe not, but I've thought about doing that. I didn't even clean the scales when I swapped the clip last time. Then the last one we're gonna talk about here comes from Commonwealth EDC. This is another Tanto, a black coated blade, looks like the M4 from Blade HQ. He has Flytanium carbon fiber scales and an MXG deep carry pocket clip. It says not wildly custom, but as wildly custom as I want it to be. And that's kind of the point here, right? Like, as I said, you can make these knives whatever you want them to be. If you like them stock, obviously you can leave them stock. But if you wanted to go full custom with one of these PM2s, like I don't know what this one would cost, because you've got a backspacer, lanyard tube, bead, clip, scales, probably like $350-ish. I don't know. I know if you went with a stock PM2 for about 150 bucks and got these scales, which are also about 150 bucks, and this Ripp's Garage Tech milled clip, I think that's about $60. So that's $360. You throw in a backspacer, probably $30-ish. Like if you go that route, you're already at $400. You're at like Sabenza money for a PM2, and people do it all day. And that's only if you go with a base PM2. If you get one of these sprint runs or exclusives or whatever that has M4 or Maximet or K390 or whatever blade steel that you want, I mean, you can dump $500 or $600 into a PM2 quickly. But this right here, I've been through a ton of different configurations with PM2s, a ton. And right now, I think this is my absolute favorite. The hardware and the clip and the blade all kind of match really well. The brass goes with the green really, really well. I got brass on the bead. Like, this is the most cohesive PM2 I've ever had. And man, I just kind of fell back in love with it this week. Thank you guys for participating in this and sending those in kind of last minute. I think we should do this again. It doesn't have to be, you know, anything in particular. We could do the Para 3 next time. People were really upset that I made this PM2 exclusive and not Para 3. But the reason I did that is because I have a PM2. I don't have a Para 3. And I just, there's so much to be done. We could do versions of the EDC Weekly focusing on specific things like that. I know a lot of people have asked me to do professions, but that gets a little more complicated and a little bit more of a logistical nightmare to get enough submissions for an episode. But let me know what you would like to see next. So we have custom PM2s out of the way. We could do Para 3 next. We could do Sabenzas. We could do bug outs. We could do whatever. Let me know in the comments down below what you want to see in the next EDC Weekly. That is going to do it for this video. If you found it helpful and you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below and subscribe to see more stuff like this in the future, and hit that notification bell so you're notified when I upload new videos. If you saw any of these PM2s that you liked, all the scales and clips and backspacers and all that, it's all linked down below. Many of those are going to be affiliate links, so if you purchase anything using those links, it will help support what I'm doing here. You can also go to patreon.com/bestmedc if you want to support that way, or you can buy this shirt or this hat and many other pieces of gear and merch from me directly over at carrycommission.com or carry.best. Be sure to follow us around the web as well. You can find us in most places at Damn EDC. But with all that said, and until next time, carry on. Flick on. Spidey flick on? No, that's bad. It's really bad. See you guys.